Late one night, under a full moon, a strange gathering took place by an ancient tree. Shadows moved in the silvery light, revealing the lean figure of a boy with eyes that glowed like embers. Around him, dogs circled and howled in unison. Their voices rose into the night, echoing across the silent village. The boy stood among them, neither fully human nor fully animal. His limbs stretched at eerie angles, and his features blended with those of a dog, making him look like a living vision from a nightmare. It was a sight so unsettling that those who witnessed it would never forget it. In a small Liberian village, a family lived a peaceful life. A husband and wife worked from dawn until dusk, earning just enough to feed their children, Kemi and Jabari. Their home was simple, but love and warmth filled every corner. Kemi and Jabari helped their parents in the fields, fetched water, and ran errands in the nearby market. Though life was not easy, they found joy in each other's company. One day, as the mother and father sold their produce in the market, they noticed a thin boy weaving through the crowd. He carried small items for sale, sweets, chewing gum, and other knickknacks. Yet what caught their attention most was the pack of dogs trotting behind him. The boy did not look frightened by the animals. Instead, he moved among them with a calm sense of belonging, as if they were family. The couple watched him for several days. He always appeared at dawn, offering his goods to passers-by, and he left at sundown with the same dogs trailing at his heels. Whenever a stranger approached him, the dogs bristled at first, but at a quiet signal from the boy, they relaxed. Something about him felt both sad and mysterious. At last, the couple asked around and learned the boy's name was Samuel. He had lost his parents some time ago. No one in the village knew who his relatives were or where he stayed at night. When they asked him directly, he would only say that his parents had passed away and that he now slept wherever he could. Filled with concern, the couple decided to invite Samuel into their home. They noticed the boy's wary eyes, the way he studied them before agreeing, as though he expected a trick or hidden motive. But his doubts vanished when they asked if he would like to become part of their family. He nodded and followed them home, the dogs trailing behind at a respectful distance. From that evening on, Samuel became their child in every sense except blood. He was soon registered in the local school, where he proved to be hardworking. He completed his lessons and scored well on tests. At home, he swept the yard, fetched water from the pump, and helped Kemi and Jabari with any tasks that needed doing. The family grew to love him dearly. Yet there was one thing they could not understand. Samuel spent little time with other children outside of school. Whenever class ended, he would rush off alone, only to be found later whispering to the dogs in some corner of the village. If the family asked him about his devotion to the animals, he simply said they were his friends. Still, he brought no trouble. His new parents and siblings accepted his closeness with the dogs as an odd but harmless habit. They sometimes caught glimpses of the pack resting beneath trees or meandering through alleys, always waiting for Samuel to join them. It was uncanny how well the animals seemed to understand him. Over time, the family noticed a certain tension around Samuel. He never spoke ill of anyone, but he carried a quiet sense of purpose that set him apart from other children. Sometimes, in the middle of a meal, he would stiffen and look off into the distance, as though hearing a call no one else could perceive. At night, dogs would pass by outside the family's gate. Their howls and barks became more frequent after Samuel's arrival, though the family tried to ignore it. Then one night, everything changed. The household had settled into sleep. Lamps were extinguished, and the world was hushed. The mother was the first to awaken to a strange sound, howling, low and mournful, but close. She peered out the window, her heart pounding. At first, she saw only the large, ancient tree in front of the house, its branches swaying in the moonlight. Then she noticed movement on the ground. Samuel stood at the base of the tree, surrounded by dogs. Their eyes glowed in the darkness. The family members, now fully awake, gathered at the window, hardly believing what they saw. A soft haze seemed to shimmer around the boy, his body transformed under the moon's pale light, limbs bending in ways no human limbs should bend. His ears lengthened, and his face shifted, taking on the features of a dog. His eyes flashed with an otherworldly brightness. The dogs began to circle the tree, howling as if they were calling out to something beyond the human realm. At the center of this ritual stood Samuel, half human, half dog. It was an unsettling sight that froze the family in place. Their love for the boy clashed with the terror now gripping their hearts. They watched until the first hint of dawn chased away the moonlight and ended the strange gathering beneath the tree. When morning arrived, Samuel slept longer than usual. The parents waited until the other children were busy elsewhere, then woke him gently. They asked him what had happened during the night. Though their voices were calm, fear and confusion lingered in the air. Samuel took a moment before he answered. He told them of a secret society he had joined after his parents died. The group believed in harnessing spiritual energy from both the seen world and the hidden one. He said the dogs guided him between these worlds and protected him from harm. They helped him find special places where he performed rituals linked to a sacred diamond, one said to hold immense power. Samuel had been searching for this diamond, hoping it could help him control the spiritual forces now rooted in his life. The parents were stunned and saddened. They had taken Samuel in as their own, offering him love and stability, yet here he was, bound to beliefs and practices they neither understood nor felt comfortable accepting. They feared what might happen next if he continued down this path. They feared for Kemi and Jabari's well-being, unsure if the presence of such forces could bring danger to their home. With heavy hearts, they told Samuel they could not continue to house him if he followed these ways. Their decision was not made out of hatred or rejection of the boy himself. It sprang from real concern for the safety of their children and the harmony of their home. They could not support or shelter powers they believed could harm innocent lives. Samuel did not argue. He thanked them for their kindness, his gaze filled with sadness and quiet acceptance. He understood the limits of their tolerance and the chasm between their beliefs. He gathered his few possessions in a small bag. The dogs, sensing his intention to leave, waited outside. Kemi and Jabari peeked from around a corner, tears in their eyes. They loved Samuel and did not understand why he had to go. Samuel offered them a gentle pat on the head, more like a caretaker than a brother, and stepped out into the yard. The sun had risen high above the village, a silent witness to the family's goodbye. Then Samuel walked away, the dogs at his side, their tails swishing in the dust. In the days that followed, an emptiness settled into the household. The father and mother spoke little. Kemi and Jabari tried to stay cheerful, but their eyes often wandered to Samuel's empty chair at mealtime. In the evenings, the family prayed for his safety, unsure if they would ever see him again. Sometimes, faint howls reached them from the forest beyond the village. The sound tugged at their hearts, reminding them of Samuel's presence somewhere out there. They wondered if he was still searching for the sacred diamond, guided by the pack of loyal dogs. They hoped he would find not only the power he sought, but also a sense of belonging that could anchor him in a gentle way. Their own hearts felt the loss of a child who had slipped from their embrace into a world they could not follow. Weeks turned into months. Life returned to its usual pattern in the village. People sold goods in the market, children ran around playing, and families gathered at dusk to share food. Yet every so often, a traveller would pass through with a story of a boy who roamed with dogs by his side. Some claimed the dogs were fierce and would growl at anyone who tried to approach him. Others swore they saw the boy heal sick animals or comfort lost souls on the road. No one knew the truth for sure, but these whispers float around the village like seeds carried on the wind. As time passed, Kemi and Jabari grew older. They missed Samuel's quiet presence. Although they spoke little of him, they would recall the nights he spent reading by the dim light of an old lantern, or the mornings he rose early to help carry water. They remembered his steady hands when one of the goats fell ill, and the day he made them laugh by imitating the small birds that nested under their roof. On some nights, the howling grew louder and closer. The family would lie awake, listening to the distant cries of dogs roaming the forest. Though fear tinged their memories of that final night under the ancient tree, they also felt a strange kind of comfort. It was as if Samuel and his companions were reminding them that he was still out there, forging his own path in the world's hidden corners. No one else in the village ever saw Samuel again. Yet his story lived on in the family he left behind, and in the rumors carried by those who traveled the roads at night. People spoke of the boy who could become half dog under the moon and walk between worlds. Some found the story frightening, while others found it full of sorrow. But no one could deny the sense of mystery it left behind. In time, the mother and father grew old. They told their grandchildren about the orphan boy they once welcomed into their home. They warned them that some parts of the world were not easily understood. While they did not encourage others to follow Samuel's path, they felt his story revealed how love, grief, and the pull of the unknown could shape a person's life. They wished him peace wherever he might be. And so the tale of Samuel and the Howling Dogs continued to echo across generations. Whenever the moon rose high and dogs began their calls, some would remember the orphan boy who walked with them. They would recall his kindness, his gentle spirit, and the haunting night he stood beneath the ancient tree, with eyes lit by a power beyond human understanding. In those moments, the family's hearts would ache with both sadness and a strange sense of wonder. They had offered Samuel a home and loved him without condition, yet fate carried him away to a realm of secrets and spiritual rites that were not part of their world. They hoped he found what he was searching for, not just the sacred diamond, but a place to belong. No one in the village could say for sure if Samuel ever discovered that legendary stone, or if he gained the power he believed it held. Some claimed he was forever searching, guided by the dogs who served as his constant companions. Others said he made his peace with the spirits, freed the dogs from their duty, and vanished into the dense forests to live a quiet, hidden life. The family never received clear answers. Still, whenever they heard the distant howls, they felt close to Samuel's story again. They imagined him standing among the trees, half human, half dog, looking up at the moon with calm acceptance in his eyes. Perhaps, in that flicker of moonlight, he remembered the love they once gave him and carried it in his heart, wherever his strange path led him. That memory, and the uncertain hope that he found his own sense of home, brought the family a gentle sense of closure. They could not follow him into the shadows, but they could hold him in their thoughts and prayers. And so they did, with every echo of a dog's howl and every memory of a thin boy in the marketplace, always surrounded by his silent, watchful friends. Over time, those echoes faded, leaving only the stories people told around the fires at night. In these tales, Samuel remained the boy who walked with howling dogs, who stood between two worlds and reminded everyone that sometimes understanding and acceptance take many forms. Though the villagers never saw him again, his memory lived in the hush of the moonlit forest and in the hearts of those who heard his story. And in that way, Samuel's spirit lingered, bound to both the world of humans and the world of the howling dogs, forging a bridge few could cross, but many still pondered whenever the moon was full. Share your thoughts about this story in the comments section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more exciting stories from the heart of Africa.